Zimbabwe, a soft electric hum trembled through the night air, not from any ordinary engine but from a machine that seemed to breathe energy on its own, and beside it stood Maxwell Chikumbutso, eyes wide with the quiet fire of a man who had seen something that defied the rules of the world. Around him, wires, tools, and fragments of abandoned prototypes lay scattered, each one a monument to years of obsession, failure, and relentless belief that power could be born from within itself. He touched the metallic frame of his invention, the car that never needed charging, and for a moment he smiled, not because he wanted fame, but because the machine was alive. Half a world away, under the cold glow of Silicon Valley's skyline, Elon Musk stared at the same invention through a shaky online video, his reflection flickering in the monitor, and a single thought crossing his mind: if this is real, the world just shifted beneath my feet. The man who had built Tesla to redefine transportation suddenly saw a challenge that came not from billion-dollar labs, but from a garage in Africa, from a self-taught visionary whose hands had shaped the impossible. Whispers filled the tech world. Blogs called it the end of the battery age, while skeptics laughed at the idea that a man with no degree could outthink physics itself. But Maxwell didn't respond. He simply kept working, driven by something larger than recognition, a promise to his younger self that energy could be free. He remembered the first time his neighbors had called him crazy, when he built a radio transmitter that played music without external power. He remembered how people began to visit just to see whether his magic was real, and how one by one they walked away shaking their heads, unable to explain what they'd seen. Now the stakes were global. Tesla had just unveiled its solid-state battery project, investors were cheering, and suddenly a rumor from Zimbabwe threatened to make the entire industry obsolete. Inside Tesla, engineers argued behind closed doors. Some mocked the claim, others whispered that if it worked, it would end every electric vehicle roadmap they'd built. One anonymous message even reached a journalist: if this Maxwell is right, Elon Musk has a problem bigger than competition. It's a rewrite of the laws of energy. Yet Maxwell stayed silent, refusing interviews, declining investors, speaking only through one cryptic statement: the world isn't ready for this kind of freedom. Those words spread faster than his invention. People wondered who he meant: governments, corporations, or humanity itself. And as curiosity turned into frenzy, strange things began to happen. Meetings canceled, emails vanished, promises withdrawn, as though invisible hands were tightening around him. Meanwhile, Elon tweeted lightly: extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. But beneath the calm public face, curiosity turned to unease. He dispatched 2 engineers to Harare under the guise of consultants. They arrived to find a modest garage vibrating with potential energy and watched, breathless, as Maxwell pressed a switch, the car awakening in perfect silence. Gauges steady, power output constant, no wires, no refueling, nothing. For hours it ran tireless, mocking entropy itself, and when they asked to record, Maxwell refused, his voice low but firm: big companies don't collaborate, they consume. They left with nothing but disbelief and a growing fear that he was right. Within days, the internet fractured into believers and skeptics. Tech forums overflowed with comparisons to Nikola Tesla, the forgotten genius who'd once dreamed of free energy before being erased by industry. Memes spread, investors panicked, governments watched quietly, and in the chaos, Maxwell posted one video: the self-powered car running for 96 straight hours, monitored by instruments, his voice calm as a whisper cutting through static: you cannot suppress the future forever. Then the screen went black. The world froze, Tesla's stock trembled, and in a silent office somewhere in California, Elon Musk stared at the darkness on his monitor, a slow smile crossing his face. Not of mockery, but of recognition that the next great war of innovation had just begun. And the weeks that followed the viral leak, the planet seemed to hold its breath. News anchors spoke his name with a mix of awe and suspicion. Scientists debated equations live on television, and Tesla's shareholders demanded answers while Elon Musk walked the echoing halls of his design center in silence, running scenarios in his mind like chess openings, wondering whether this man from Harare had truly found the holy grail of propulsion or whether the universe was simply teasing him. Sleepless nights turned into sketches on whiteboards, scribbles of magnetic fields, quantum resonance, and energy loops, each idea dismissed almost as quickly as it appeared. Yet a part of him refused to let go of the possibility that somewhere, outside the established order, a new physics was being born. Behind closed doors, he authorized a secret project codenamed Helios, a crash effort to explore self-sustaining electromagnetic drives. Only 7 engineers knew its full scope, and they worked under the cover of a recycled battery lab contract, testing theories that even they didn't fully believe, while Maxwell, unaware of the surveillance tightening around him, continued refining his greener power machine, tuning frequencies, adjusting coils, muttering that harmony, not force, was the key. In the dimness of his workshop, The hum had deepened, softer but stronger, as though the machine itself was learning. His friends urged him to patent the design, to seek protection, but he refused, saying that filing ownership over infinite power was like signing a lease on sunlight. The world's curiosity, however, was morphing into obsession. Tech bloggers camped outside his home, drones buzzed over his roof, and unmarked vans appeared on the corners of his street at night. One evening, as thunder rolled across Harare, his mother called to tell him that men in suits had visited her church asking harmless questions about her son. Maxwell realized then that what he built wasn't just a machine, it was leverage, and leverage draws predators. Halfway across the Atlantic, at Tesla's Nevada Gigafactory, the Helios team ran their first closed-loop test. A small magnetic rotor spun freely for 6 minutes before collapsing in smoke, the engineers cheering despite the failure because even 6 minutes of sustained motion without external input hinted that Maxwell's principle might not be myth. Elon watched the footage, jaw tight, whispering, "We're close." Yet the closer they got, the louder the outside noise became. Governments convened emergency panels on unverified energy anomalies, oil lobbyists poured millions into counter-narratives, and social media drowned in conspiracy theories claiming Maxwell was either an alien messenger or a fraud planted by Tesla itself. The noise was so deafening that few noticed when Maxwell suddenly vanished from public view. One morning his workshop stood open, tools untouched, machine gone, laptop missing, neighbors claiming they'd heard trucks at dawn. Within hours, hashtags like #WhereIsMaxwell trended worldwide. Interviews replayed his calm smile, his warning that the world isn't ready, and across forums people swore they'd seen encrypted live streams showing the self-powered car being loaded into a cargo plane bound for the United States. No evidence ever surfaced.